The rest of the story. Somewhere in Saudi Arabia there is a soldier's grave. The one who rests there would scarcely have considered himself a hero, but his buddies think he was. And they would like for you to know and remember the rest of the story. August 1990, the Iraqi army invaded Kuwait. The United States responded first with economic sanctions, then with a military threat. The first wave of American troops deployed to the Middle East was 60,000 strong. Make it 60,001, because among them was one soldier assigned to the 37th Tactical Fighter Wing who was career military. I mean, he'd been in the Air Force for a dozen years. Stateside, he'd been a special investigator for the 554th Squadron. But in Operation Desert Shield, he would be given the supreme responsibility of guarding the F-117A, a stealth fighter. The location was classified. All of the hardware was undercover. Saddam Hussein would have done almost anything to get to that piece of machinery, so the Air Force selected this veteran investigator from the 554th to handle security. Now, it is a cool October night in the desert. He's going to walk out there in the restricted area on the grounds around the stealth hangar. He's been doing this every night since the 37th Tactical Setup Shop. Humping the perimeter, it's called. A patrol on foot, but nothing predictable, because the enemy would be watching in the darkness. In other words, what you do is to show up at different sites at different times to discourage a planned attack. So he's out there looking around. He's out there in the sand and the rocks. Most of the restricted area is off the beaten path anyway. But then, without warning, the enemy strikes. The soldier feels a sharp pain in his leg. Both the attack and the retreat are swift. What he needs to do, of course, is to get back to base and get medical help, but he will not. He will not retreat. He will stay out there on guard all through the night, because a good soldier never deserts his post. By morning, his buddies find him. The leg is in pretty bad shape. The medics are summoned. They will do their best, but soon it becomes apparent that more than the leg is involved now. Renal function has ceased, and indeed, on the morning of November 3, the special investigator for the 554th is dead. He lies beneath the desert sand to this day. The victim not of Iraqi soldiers, but of an enemy omnipresent in the Arabian night, the Desert Scorpion. So should anyone ask, you will be able to recount the true tale of the only American killed in the Persian Gulf conflict who was not brought home for burial. That aside, there's not much more to say, except that those who served with this extraordinary Air Force veteran here and abroad loved him and still miss him, and want you to know that he died serving his country. And by the way, his stateside service for a dozen years was investigating, that is, sniffing out drugs and contraband. It was only in the Middle East that the security of the stealth fighter was entrusted to Shep, the Air Force guard dog, who did his duty to his dying breath. And now you know the rest of the story.